Hello everyone, and welcome to our Horizon Zero Dawn Let's Play. Today we embark upon our adventure with Cauldron XI.
Locked. Maybe one of the guards has a key.
Alrighty here, so it looks like we're actually going to be looking for a key. Obviously we have quite a bit of friends down here. It looks like at one time they all kind of existed, but they were really naughty, and so obviously it looks like somebody came through before we got here and took them all out of commission, which is marvelous. Does make our life a lot easier.
No room.
Now, luckily, we were able to locate that key, so let's head all the way back up to the very top here, and now we should be able to gain access and kind of figure out what's going on here. Obviously, we're going to learn a little bit more about ourselves, but ultimately kind of enhance our abilities as well. Alrighty here. Well, we do have a couple of friends. Obviously, we want to take these guys out of commission, considering that they've been very naughty as of late. Gonna snipe that dude in the back of the head, and then snipe that dude in front of the face. Alrighty here, so let's continue to venture our way all the way down into the abyss here. Obviously, hopefully we don't run into anybody.
This was a cauldron once. But the wild got in. And now the enemy too.
You're digging too deep if you ask me. Listen to orders. If you don't know what it is, then be damn sure to leave it alone.
Alrighty here, so let's actually spend a little bit of time and get these guys marked, just so we have a pretty good idea of where they're going to be kind of moving about. Obviously, they've been very antsy as of late, but I mean, can you really blame them when you know that your friends aren't kind of with you anymore? I mean, obviously, we've been taking out so many of these guys over the last several episodes that I'm sure they're kind of missing their friends by this point. I will say that the echoing that kind of happened there, I'm surprised that nobody kind of figured out what's going on, but once again, these guys are actually going to be joining their friends in the afterlife, so I guess we're kind of providing a service if you think about it. I believe we're actually probably in the all clear now, which is looking even better yet. As we continue to work our way all the way down to the bottom here, it looks like we're going to be learning a little bit more. We do have kind of an opening up ahead.
Must have been a cave-in. A big one.
Well, that's no joke. Look how many targets we have over here. This is going to be quite an adventure for us. I think if we can spot everybody, we might be able to do this stealthy, but once again, I make no promises on stuff like this, considering that all it takes is for somebody to get a little too scared of bushes moving, and then all of a sudden everybody and their best friend is kind of closing in on our location.
This place used to give birth to machines. Why does it feel? Not sure what that was. You're getting grim, you know.
Well, as they continue to work their way over this way, I'm going to try to keep working my way over to the opposite direction, kind of hoping that they kind of lose interest. Now, in just a few moments, we're going to hide in this bush and see if we can't try to lure these guys over a little bit more to the other side. Obviously, we do have one gentleman that's kind of overzealous for his abilities, but nevertheless, we'll kind of let that guy kind of lose interest and realize that it was indeed the bushes that was making all the scary noises. Now, nobody has decided to come up behind us just yet, but I think we actually might have a pretty good opening here to kind of continue to move up. Got to be careful of this gentleman. It looks like he actually might have seen something that he's not quite sure what was going on, but we take him out of commission. We'll take his best friend out of commission, and I think we're probably looking okay. Does look like they have identified something, but they don't quite know exactly what they identified yet.
You can see them. They can't see you.
Got to be careful in this water over here. If we make too much noise, obviously everybody's going to kind of learn about our presence, but I think we're doing okay so far. I don't exactly see anything special just yet, but once again, if we kind of walk in the water nice and slow, I think we're probably going to be okay.
Eyes open, brothers. They may come back.
Now, as we continue to look forward, obviously we're not going to be looking behind by any stretch, but I believe we should be able to slowly but surely work our way over. I don't quite see a bush just yet. Obviously, we have one in front of us, but just a few moments here. I'm hoping that this guy decides that he wants to kind of stare at this wood over here. Now we're continuing to move forward. It looks like we do have a very interesting opening up ahead, so obviously going to continue on our path. We were able to successfully do that without really killing too many people. Obviously, we had to add a couple more to the body count, but fortunately, that's just kind of how things work out sometimes. Does look like those guys actually have located those bodies. It's kind of unfortunate because I bet they were really good friends with those people, but I mean, that's just kind of a problem that they have to deal with. You know, when you don't use your eyes and you kind of just expect things to work out in your favor, it's kind of a you problem and not so much a me problem. Looks like we actually are going to be overriding this core over here. See if we can't try to identify where these targets are to stake things off, because obviously we want to kind of get a pretty good idea of where everybody's at, but it looks like we do have some individuals with weaponry. Obviously we do have probably several guys that are probably more nor less rocking some kind of bow. Now it's going to be in our best interest to probably switch over to our more heavy hitting arrows, considering that we're going to be utilizing these in just a brief moment. Now that guy's not going to be staying dead for very long. I felt like that arrow should have killed that guy. Once again, I don't know what's going on there. Having some difficulties there. Looks like we're actually going to be going loud this time around, so things lasted for about as long as I would have expected, but unfortunately we're having a little bit of difficulties kind of getting the detection to kind of pick up on some of those hits, but ultimately we're able to successfully take those guys out without too many problems, but could have been a lot cleaner though, but beggars can't be choosers at the end of the day.
See what they're so afraid of. That's it. More machines I can override.
What have you done? Kill the savage. Cut her down.
Alrighty here, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a heavy weapon over here. I'm going to try to utilize this to basically make my life a little bit easier, but obviously as they get a little bit closer, I think we're going to quickly find that we probably need some additional ammunition. We do have a heavy friend over here that obviously I'm going to try to take out of commission. Once again, trying to work on these guys as well. Thought that maybe that might blow up there for just a brief moment, but to no avail. That does not seem to be the case here. Luckily, with this weapon, one shot pretty much drops these guys like a sack of potatoes. As long as our accuracy can kind of stick up with what our intended goal is, that does kind of work out pretty well. We do have several individuals working our way over to the other side. Obviously going to take that machine out of commission, considering that that probably was going to create a lot of problems here. We do have quite a bit of friends over here, so obviously we need to kind of continue to take these guys out of commission as quickly as possible. Once again, we do have so many machines over here, but it looks like they're actually having a little bit of difficulty kind of getting over to us, which is marvelous, because we really need this to kind of work out in our favor. But obviously when we're kind of getting jumped at, and we have so many different targets to kind of acquire, it does make things a little bit more tricky, just because there are a lot more targets than just a few guys. Looks like reinforcements are moving their way all the way back over again, you know, because things have been working out just so well for these guys the last several moments. But obviously going to take this guy out of commission, and then once again, still have a couple of machines over here having some real difficulties kind of getting over to us.
What is that? Stalkers.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some kind of machine or something around here. Obviously, our focus is not really able to help us out as much as I would like, but if we're nice and slow, we can kind of find ourselves in some tricky situations once again. Obviously, looking for some kind of camouflage. Now, it looks like we might be okay. I'm not seeing anybody else just yet. Let's see if we can't continue to move forward just a little bit at a time. Obviously, we do have some machines with active camo, which really makes our life a lot more tricky than it otherwise needs to be. Alrighty here, so we're going to end up ultimately having to do a little bit more climbing. Obviously, not really a problem for us, but you know, if you were to ask me if I didn't want to climb today, then my decision would be a little bit easier. But unfortunately, the sacrifices we make for the greater good. So let's continue to work our way all the way down here. It looks like we have potentially somebody hiding in a bush or something over here.
By the shadow, please. Don't let it see me.
Well, that is very interesting. So we do have some people that are actually hiding at the moment. That actually worked out relatively good for us. I mean, we were able to kind of line him up. The machine came over and kind of took him out of commission. I mean, I think our ingenuity there was actually top notch, but you guys may feel a little bit different about that. I mean, we kind of did sacrifice that dude to the machines. Obviously, our whole mission this entire time is to try to save the human race, essentially, and all of the beautiful flowers that kind of are all around us. But like I've said many, many times, I mean, that's just kind of how this works out sometimes.
Okay.
You see the machine all the way off in the distance down there. Let's see if we can't take him out of commission. Unfortunately, we actually ran out of some arrows at the worst possible time. Looks like they actually have located us. We're about to have some newfound friends here in just a few moments. Obviously, we need to worry about the one that's actually back here at the moment. We have taken him out of commission. It looks like we do have one more kind of doing a little bit of some additional ranged attacks all the way back there. And then I'm not quite sure what's all the way up there. So we're just going to kind of let it do its own thing.
Keep quiet, or it will...
Almost out of here.
Alrighty here. Well, unfortunately, we actually have some foes that we need to take out of commission. Obviously, we have machines. We got a little bit of everything kind of over here. Machines turning against their friends. We got friends turning against friends. We just got a little bit of everybody kind of just being the worst version of themselves, don't we? But I guess that's kind of a quality of the human race, though. We have successfully taken out one more machine. It looks like we might actually just have a small little group of individuals over here. We did save this human for just a brief moment, but look, they continue to try to shoot at me. They're trying to load up their bow. What an absolute travesty. But again, that's a them problem. They'll be joining their friends very, very soon in the afterlife, and it looks like we're actually going to continue our way all the way to the very tippy top of this structure. And we almost got a collateral there, but unfortunately arrows aren't really made for that. You know, this isn't like a heavy weapon necessarily. It's a very efficient weapon, but it's not a heavy weapon.
Well, so much for that salvage operation. They meddled with something they couldn't control, like they did with me.